Hey, welcome to this video. We're going to do LeetCode problem 187, repeated DNA sequences, right? So the directions are kind of long. Let's skip over that. So they give us an input string representing the four letters that represent DNA, A, C, G, T. It's been a while. And then you got to return back the, 10 letter long sequences that appear in here at least 2 times, right? They say repeated. Long story short, at least 2 times. So I guess supposedly this appears at least twice in here. This is getting convoluted, so we'll trust the example. And of course, this 10 letter or 10 character string, right, also appears twice in here. So cool. And let's get started. So I'm gonna say function, or you know what, let's just copy it, save myself some time. Then I'm going to say const scene is equal to an empty hash table, right? So what it'll look like is it'll give us a frequency counter for how often a DNA sequence appears, right? So I'll give you an example. It might say, oh, hey, the DNA sequence of ABC appeared, 4 times. Then the DNA sequence of CCC appeared, 100 times, right? Now, of course, obviously, this is just an example. These, it has to be at least 10. Mines are 3. Anyways, this is like a counter, right? Oh, and by the way, if you like my content, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell to be notified of new content, and of course, I have full-length courses on my website, kaeducation.com. Now, I'll say const res is equal to an array. You could also call it output, right? I'll call it res. That's my preference. It's initially empty. We're going to fill it up. Then I'll say let I is equal to 0. Now you could solve this problem using a for loop. That's what I initially did. But you can also do it with a while loop. I find a while loop a lot more easier to understand and explain. So I'll say while I plus 10 is less than or equal to s.length. Okay. Why I plus 10? Because, well, it's got to be 10 letters long. And we only want to get the 10th character from the end of the string at most, right? So then I'll say const DNA sequence is equal to s, right? That's the input string. s.slice from I, and then the next, 9 or 10 characters afterwards. So I'll say I plus 10. All right. There should be 9 characters afterwards, right? If we do inclusive. Then I'll say scene DNA sequence, right, is equal to scene DNA sequence plus 1 or 1. Anyways, this is a shortcut I like to use, right? So let's say we're on the DNA sequence of ABC. If we just assume it's only 3 letters instead of 10, right? Is ABC in our scene counter? If it's not in here, right, then we're going to set it to 1. We'll say ABC, this is the first time we've seen it, it'll be set to 1, right? Otherwise, if this is the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh time we've seen the sequence of ABC, then this right here, right, the counter will increment by 1. This is why I like the OR operator. It makes our code really, really one-liner-ish, which I like. Then I'll say here, if scene DNA sequence is equal to 2, then res.push DNA sequence, right, from up here. All right, so when I initially did this problem, I actually set this to greater than or equal to 1, but this is actually, or greater than or equal to 2, but this is actually a very common pitfall. It took me a while to understand this, right? So we only want to output the things that appeared at least twice, right? But if this appeared, say, 100 times, we don't want to push this result 100 times to our output, right? If we have our code stay like this, then if our DNA sequence appears 100 times, then in our output, we're going to output this 100 times. If it appears at least twice, right, then like this, it appears at least twice, just push it to our res array just once. So this prevents duplicates, all right? Cool. And now you have to be really careful because in a while loop, we have to increase this I variable from up here. Otherwise, our while loop can go forever. Your browser is going to crash. Or if you're running this on Node.js on your local machine, right, your fans are going to get really fast and loud like a jet engine. So I'll just say I plus equals 1. Okay, within the while loop, make sure it doesn't run infinitely. Right, this while loop will run and finish running. It'll modify a res. Res will fill out. So after this while loop, we will return res, which will be our output. So let's copy it all and paste it onto LeetCode, and hopefully it will pass. Hey, it did. So repeated DNA sequences, complexity analysis, time complexity is O of n, where n is the number of characters in the string, and space complexity is O of n, roughly, okay? Why is it roughly O of n? Because let's say our input string is actually 10 characters, right? Then if our input string is 10 characters, ignore this is definitely more than 10 characters. But if our input string was 10 characters, then our scene here would only have one key, right? That key would be that 10 character long input string. So roughly O of n. I'm sure there's some of you that are very smart and logical and you'll be able to figure out something more accurate than this, but we'll go with this for now. Okay, that's it for this video.